Consistency for me is the most important thing when building a deck to climb the ladder. If you can build a consistent deck which performs over the long run, that will serve you much better than something which needs perfect card draw to do well. Today we're going to look at what I consider to be the most consistent deck in Marvel Snap, especially in the early stages in pools 1 and 2 and early stages of pool 3 to really help you climb the ladder and get the highest rank you can. It's helped me get infinite in 2 of the beta seasons of Marvel Snap, so hang around and take a look. Let's go. Hey, Milky here, back again with another video for Marvel Snap. That's right, consistency is king today, and we're taking a look at what I consider to be one of the most consistent decks in Marvel Snap. Especially with there only being a few days left in the season, I know everyone's going to be trying to achieve the highest rank they can, and consistent decks can definitely help you do that. So let's not waste any more time, let's get in and take a look at the deck now. Alright, so this is the deck. It's a zoo style of deck. Some people call it Kazoo. There's a few different tech cards that I've got in it. I've highlighted this deck in a few different videos, but I think it is the most consistent deck you can be playing, especially early on in Marvel Snap. So this deck has a really simple evolution throughout the pools in Marvel Snap. In Pool 1, it's a really strong deck, if not one of the top decks in Pool 1 for sure. It just works really well as a unit together, but as you enter Pool 2, there's some counter cards in the game, especially things like Killmonger, which are going to decimate 1-drops on your board, so you need to consider building around that and teching in some cards which are going to still make this deck work, but protect your 1-drops at the same time. Alright, so this is the Pool 2 version of the deck that we have up on the screen now, and there's some key cards which come into the mix in Pool 2, which I think actually takes this deck from strength to strength. Sunspot is a key one that I want to highlight early on. If you haven't heard me talk about Sunspot before, I think he's one of the strongest 1-drops in the game, if not the strongest. He's going to get 1+ power for every time you have unspent energy. It's an awesome card. You're not often missing turns or skipping energy in this deck, but whenever you do, he's going to get a benefit from it. And even if you just skip a couple of energy, you've already got some value there. Another great card in Pool 2 and a fantastic 1-drop to include in this deck is Iceman. Iceman's a great card that does 2 things for you. He's going to get all of that boost to 1-drops and the power boost you're going to have later on in the game, but he's also being able to negatively affect what your opponent's doing and potentially be incredibly disruptive. Iceman's great for that, and that's why he's in the deck. Another 1-drop from Pool 2 I want to include is Ebony Maw. And Ebony Maw is an interesting card that you can't play in every deck, but in this deck he works particularly well. What you ideally want to do is you want to make sure you're setting up a really strong turn 3, which you can do in this deck. Potentially filling out a location completely, and maybe even having armor in there to protect all of your 1-drops. You do have to get him out before turn 3, but if you can build out a really solid location and protect all of them with armor, Ebony Maw can be a really solid power push on the board. A bit of a flavor pick for me, but something that I think really adds to this deck in Pool 2 is Okoye. If you can get Okoye down on turn 2, she's absolutely incredible. I think the latest you'd want to play Okoye is probably turn 3, unless she's filling out a curve for you. But she does really well, and I think she can represent a ton of power if played early on in the game, and you can get the full benefit out of that. In Pool 2, Killmonger enters the game, and for that reason, I think it is essential to run armor in these style of decks. Really, any deck that you're running a number of 1-drops, you should consider including an armor in the list just to safeguard against Killmongers, which seem to be running rampant all over the meta at the moment. I've talked about this before, but the incredible curve of Kazar on 4, Blue Marvel on 5, and Onslaught on 6 is an incredible way to round out the game, buffing all of your board, providing a huge boost to the power on the board, and doubling down on that on the final turn with Onslaught. There's 2 main factors which I think makes this deck incredibly consistent. One, you have really strong early game. You're never really wanting cards to play. You usually have something to do almost on every one of the early turns, and you can get a lot of power out on the board early on. The other factor which I think makes this deck really consistent is the combo pieces that you require are very minimal. There's really only 3 of them. And even if you only have 2 of them, it can still be a huge push of power on the board. For example, if you had Kazar and Onslaught, all of your 1-drops are getting +2 power. Or if you had Kazar and Blue Marvel, you're going to get a great boost across the board as well. Or if you had Blue Marvel and Onslaught, that's an awesome power push across the board as well. If you do have all 3 combo pieces, I definitely consider snapping on your opponent, especially if you're able to protect the rest of your board. But for the most part, this deck just does incredibly well and does it very, very consistently. So that wraps up the deck breakdown. Let's go ahead and jump into some games now. As always, we'll be playing at infinite rank, pool 3, full collections. So games might be a little bit tough, but we'll see how we go. All right, so first game up, we go straight into Machine World. Hey, buddy. And I think what we want to do here is we probably want to play Sunspot. We'll have to see if this is going to work out. I don't love Machine World with this deck, but it's Wasp. I mean, Wasp can be an interesting card to fill out some turns for sure. I think we want to play Angela over here. Iceman. Okay, hits our armor, which isn't significant at the moment, but it could be quite significant later on. We need to get out 1-drops for Kazar. I'm just wondering if he's got a Killmonger at all floating around in his deck. He skips. Okay. So I'm just wondering if we armor here and potentially move this over. We're gonna have initiative. So if he plays Killmonger this turn, we do get a little bit decimated. If this isn't a 1-drop, I don't mind giving him a Kazar as well. Okay, so he's got his own Kazar, so I definitely don't want to give him a Kazar now. Right. I think we just do this, and he doesn't know we got Wasp, so we can do our own. Ooh, Lockjaw Wasp. Okay, what's this gonna draw? Jubilee into Thor. Okay, very interesting sequence of events there. Do we want to do this just in case? It's going to be a +2 Wasp. I think this is the safest bet we can make. Look, I don't know what he could potentially draw here. The Lockjaw is such a wild card, but we give ourselves chances over on these 2 locations. Let's give this a go. Is this an Iron Man? Or is this what is this going to flip into with Lockjaw? I have to consider that. Okay, so that takes him over us in mid, and the Wasp flips into Enchantress. Oh gosh. But I think we do still have enough power. We do have enough power. So playing the Wasp over there was great. The Enchantress roll at the end could have been a really interesting one if you had more cards. But that was a fun game. And playing the Wasp over here just got us there in the end. X-Mansion, straight off the bat, hey? Definitely going to be playing Sunspot out, I think. Sunspot Okoye is looking like a good turn 1, turn 2 for us. We'll drop Sunspot into X-Mansion, which is fine. Okay, and we discard Blue Marvel, which is definitely the worst one to discard out of our hand. That wasn't good for us. That was not good for us. Mojo. We could potentially do some skipping this game. That doesn't make me want to skip though. We can get some sneaky power over there for sure. And we don't even need to fully commit with okay, we don't really need to fully commit with Nightcrawler, and we get Star-Lord, which is I mean, we get the value out of Star-Lord. He gets a Sunspot, so I'd say a pretty even trade there for sure. Okay, we've got to think about this. That Mojo isn't going to be fun to deal with. I want to can't add cards in here after 4, so maybe we just want to Iceman here. Feels kind of weird, but we do want to kind of see if we can lock this one down. That's really, really unfortunate for us, especially now that we don't have our blue Marvel. So we have to win these two, which is going to be tough. It's totally going to be tough. Question is, do we even play Knight? That was a really, really... I almost made this play. That was a really, really fortunate play for him. Totally. Maybe we just skip with this to save. Look, I don't think he's going to win over here. Falcon takes all his 1-drops back. Or 1-1-drop back. This is our only play. This is our only play. I don't know how he can get into the kiln. Yeah. I mean... The Falcon there was interesting. I give him mojo value, but I think we had 6 on Ant-Man. 8 coming from... We had 14 coming down then. Pretty big buff. 26 would have been over here. Yeah. Good win. Another good win. He's got a couple wins in a row now. Dark Dimension. That's an interesting one. We can definitely play around with Dark Dimension. Did the Ebony Moor over there could be really, really cheeky, hey? Ooh, I actually don't mind it. This early on? I don't mind it though. We just kind of hang out, yeah? In the Dark Dimension. Love to see that. Yondu? Gets through the armor. Okay. Hopefully not too significant. Ooh, spicy. Bar Sinister. Now, do we want to do... I mean, we can hold off on the Bar Sinister stuff, eh? We could do Okoye. We could just go Okoye, Okoye, Okoye. And buff the rest of our deck up by 4. Which is probably insane, but... I think the Nightcrawler play is gonna just be better because we can then have some flexibility there. Just have to really consider this one. These are some really interesting locations to start off with. So Hazmat. Hazmat was really, really odd because he had initiative. And wow, this is incredibly awkward this turn. Do we just do this? These locations are just insane. Move this around, I guess. Man, I don't know. I don't think we should have played the Angelo. The Angelo was wrong. So, I don't know how we're going to win middle now. So, do we move 1 out and Kazar? I'm actually okay with giving him a Kazar, right? This is actually okay. Okay, so what we need to do is, I think we need to move as many of these as we can out. And we blue Marvel here, and then we can move this if we get Onslaught. It's our only chance, I think. We do give him a blue Marvel, but I think he's going for his combo. Okay, so big buffs on the board here. We're for the most part, we're going to be losing middle here. This has got to be Mjolnir, right? Yeah.
Mjolnir to me. Mjolnir to me.
So we really just hope we draw...
Mjolnir to me.
we really hope we draw
To me.
Onslaught here.
Mjolnir.
Sorry, I'm stuttering a bit.
Mjolnir to me.
Yeah, so we did draw the Onslaught, which is kind of amazing for us. So there's absolutely no way we win middle, but we give ourselves a solid chance to win left, right? Let's go for it. What a crazy game and crazy locations, hey? He could have another Mjolnir here. I don't know if you would play it just for board space. Wow, we end up winning that one? That's insane with all of that Thor insanity. Like, these are plus 18. I guess he was never going to win this location because this is where you're doing the wand combos and stuff. But wow, drawing into Onslaught there was huge, and it would have made it competitive for sure. Fun game, crazy locations though. All right, so that's going to wrap us up for this one. I hope through the games you're able to see how consistent this deck not only is in drawing cards, but also in how it plays out as well. The combo, as I said, is a really, really simple one, but it's one that is tried and tested and has helped me get infinite on a number of different occasions. With that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Consider giving this one a like and would love to have you on board subscribe to the channel, so consider doing that too. All right, so that's wrapping us up for this one. A bunch more videos coming soon, but until the next one, I'll see you then.